So we all know that in today's economy, a lot of people are struggling when it comes to their finances, right? Struggling with housing, food, gas, whatever you can name it. People are struggling financially, right? Obviously, some are struggling more than others. But what I want to talk about in this video is what I've been seeing lately, right? I've been watching a lot of videos, especially a lot of them on TikTok, and you see a lot of people talking about how they're struggling just to get by with life, right? And the one thing I notice is with these things, because when it comes to struggling, we all understand, like when you can see couples struggling, like they have kids and they're struggling just to be able to just pay for living expenses. But what I'm seeing on these videos are a lot of people trying to do things by themselves, right? And we all know that in today's economy, it's hard to do things by yourself, right? People are struggling to get by with a spouse, with a family, right? People are struggling to do that. And the fact that there's a lot of people out there thinking they can do it by themselves, right? There was one video I saw on TikTok, and she was talking about how she was, all right, her rent is $2,000. No, she makes $2,000 a month, and her rent is $1,600 a month. I'm like, okay, that doesn't even make sense. That's more than 3/4 of your income. First of all, I'm like, that math doesn't even make sense. I'm not sure if she has kids or anything. She never said anything. She never mentioned anything about it. But regardless, that doesn't make sense, like mathematically. Like you make $2,000 a month and your rent is $1,600. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, why are you putting yourself in this situation? And not only that, it was a 2-bedroom apartment. I'm like, why do you have a 2-bedroom apartment just for yourself? Now, like I said, I don't know if she has kids, but if you are one single person and you have a 2-bedroom, you need to downgrade. You need to do a couple things, right? You need to get a studio, 1 bedroom at most, or you need to increase your income, reduce your expense. That makes no sense that you make $2,000 a month and your rent is $1,600 a month, right? And we understand that a lot of people are struggling, right? We understand that the economy is not in a good place right now. We understand that, trying to afford a house is expensive. Just trying to afford everything is expensive. But you can't make your situation worse when you're putting yourself in a situation where the math just doesn't make sense, okay? Like if you're making X amount of dollars, like your housing shouldn't be more than a third of your income, right? And I understand things are more expensive, so maybe you get it up to 40%, maybe 50%. That'd be crazy. But almost 3/4 of your income, that makes no sense. So I'm trying to think, and I'm like, for a lot of people, we're living in a society where people are trying to do everything by themselves, and it's just impossible to do that. And for the people on the TikTok, most of the videos that I saw, obviously a lot of them were women, right? And we know we live in this world where women are independent, they can do everything by themselves, whatever. I get it, I understand that. Everybody wants their independency, right? But if you're trying to do it by yourself, clearly you can't. Clearly you're struggling. It's hard to do it by yourself, and I understand. And you see, and I'm looking at the situation. I'm like, all right, it's already hard enough to do it if you had a spouse with you, right? But doing it by yourself is almost impossible. So you have to come up with a solution. Like, what are you gonna do? You either have to find a spouse, or you have to get with family, right? To do anything, to just to survive, right? I mean, she looked like a young girl. I mean, one of the things that you could do is actually go back with the parents. I know it's not the sexiest thing to do. It's not you. Everybody wants their independency, but if you're struggling just to get by, right? And like you said, a lot of people are talking about how they don't make enough to get the things that they need. Well, it's going to be difficult if you're going to do it by yourself, right? And I look at you look at different generations, right? And then you see people that are struggling, that they don't want to work the 9 to 5 and they don't want to have to work forever. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm all with that. Back in the days, I used to say the same thing, and for me, I did something about it. I was like, all right, I want to start a business, right? Because I don't want to deal with that 9 to 5 schedule. But even though I'm doing my own thing, I work more hours, but obviously I do something that I like. But you need to understand that life is hard. Life is difficult. Trying to do this, working. You say you don't want to work the 9 to 5, but then how do you get things paid for, right? You don't want to work for the rest of your life, but in order to get the things that you need, to get the bigger house with the more rooms, to get the nicer car, to get whatever you want, you have to work, right? You have to make money, right? Things aren't given to you for free, right? So we have to get in this get away from this idea that, especially now, like doing things by ourselves, right? The fact that I can, and maybe, and I'm trying to think like why is that the case, right? Maybe because we live in such a privileged, country like the United States of America, where everything is given to us, everything is done for us, right? We have transportation, we have, things to clean our clothes, wash dishes. We have everything that's done for us and makes our lives so much easier. Right? So we have this mindset that, I don't really need anyone to get this thing done. I can just do this myself. I have a car. I can just go to the grocery store and get what I need. Right? So maybe that's the reason why a lot of us have this mentality where we can just do things by ourselves. But obviously when things get rough and you can't do it by yourself, then what are you going to do? You're going to resort to, can you go to your family and be like, okay, I need some help? Can you go to your spouse and be like, I need some help? But if you're going to do it alone, then obviously we have a lot of people that don't have those type of resources, and they're just doing it by themselves, trying to get by. So it's making life so much harder. I mean, I look at other generations, and I'm pretty sure that they did back in during their time, they work with each other, right? They to get the things that they need, they had to make sure they work with each other. They had to had a joint family and had to work with each other to get the things they need. As best as possible. But now as generations evolve and get, you move on to different generations, we have this generation where they want to do things by themselves. They want to get out the house at 18 and they want to try to live life on their own and try to survive. But now you have kids that are doing that, and they're strapped for cash. Like you have student loans that are more expensive. You got housing that's more expensive. You just can't do that. And you see this fight with the generations, like the boomers and the Gen Zs and millennials, all these people fighting when it comes to who had it easier. Everybody has their struggles, right? Everyone has their struggles, right? Everyone struggles different. Everybody struggles same, whatever it is. Everyone has their struggles, right? No one, like, I can't say what a boomer's life was back then and say, oh, you had it easier. I mean, look, it is what it is. Life is not easy. These are things that you just have to deal with in life, and you got to find a way to get by, right? But you can't make it harder on yourself by thinking, you know what, I'm just going to do it by myself, because clearly a lot of people just can't, right? You're going to need some help. You're going to have to figure that out. So it's just interesting to see, like, for a lot of people, just this dynamic where I can do everything by myself. Especially when it comes from a lot of the females, where you see them on TikTok and it's just like, it's so hard, things are so hard, I'm living paycheck to paycheck, and it's like I'm just struggling to get by. And then you see their situation, and you obviously want to empathize with them, but there's a point like, okay, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this by yourself, right? For whatever reason, right? No one knows specifically what their situation is, but for anyone that has that mentality, you can do it by yourself. It's not that easy, right? So I mean, those are my thoughts. It's just I've been seeing that lately. I wanted to, like, at least have a conversation about that, because it's just you've seen that more and more. Just more and more people just doing things alone, and I don't know why I don't know why it's getting to that point where we all trying to do it alone, right? If you're trying to buy a house, right? You clearly, homes are expensive right now. Buying a house, unless you're making a lot of money, right? If you're someone that has a 9 to 5 job, obviously your income is, unless you have one of those high professional jobs where you get paid a lot, your income is going to be, maybe not enough to buy a home. So then you're gonna have to partner up with someone, whether it's a family member or a spouse, to buy a home, right? And even that's difficult. So thinking that you're gonna do it by yourself is just gonna make things even tougher. So those are my thoughts. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure to leave a comment down below, hit the like button, and share. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe. All right, so guys, take care. Have a good one. Later.